Hello, I'm Katie and today I want to show you how to make a very on-trend, fashionable 70s style swing dress with a pussy bow. It's going to be really simple for you, it's going to be very achievable, and if you are a similar size to me and buy the same fabric as me, it will only cost £4.43. The fabric I've got here is this nice navy paisley. It's on an eBay seller called The Fabric Man. And it's about £3 a metre, but then you have to pay the delivery obviously. But any sort of floaty-ish viscose fabric will be good. So you need fabric that's 150 centimetres wide, and in order to know how much fabric to buy of that fabric, you need to measure around the widest part of your hips and add 30 centimetres to that. So that might be 1.2 metres, 1.5 metres, whatever, and ask for that much of the fabric, and then it will fit around you perfectly with plenty of extra room as well. Just to let you know how it's going to work out, you see from the biggest part of the fabric we make the body of the dress, and then whatever's left at the bottom from that 150 centimetres, because it's unlikely that you're going to want a dress that's 150 centimetres long, it's from that bottom bit that we make the sleeves and the little ties. Now what you need to do is make sure that your dress is going to be long enough, so you just need to take one measurement which goes from your shoulder. If you've got clothes, just wherever the shoulder seam is, just push the tape measure against that. Unfortunately I've lost my long tape measure, so I'm going to have to do it in a slightly weird way, but as you can see I'm holding it, I'm just letting the tape measure drop along me, and then if it was a normal one it would go all the way down, but as it is, I'll let it drop again, and I want it to be just a little bit longer than this skirt here. So altogether that's going to be 84 centimetres that I'm going to do for the length. What I'm going to do is just take the shortest end, fold it in half, right sides together, just let it drop so it folds properly, and then fold that in half again, and then we lay this on the table and get ready to start making a pattern. So I've got the fabric laid out in front of me, because this is how you'll see it as well. Just to explain, I've got the fabric, we folded it again. Now the edges are here, and you've got 2 full layers of the fabric on this side, and this is going to be the centre of your dress, basically the centre front, and also later the back, centre back. We've got the length down here, which I've measured 85 centimetres, because that's how long I want mine. You can just mark it there. When you do yours, just add maybe 2 centimetres for the hem allowance, so your desired length plus 2. Now to get our neck in, for the minute, I just want to do a really simple one, and then we'll change the shape later when it's on our body, so we get the nicest shape. But for now, I've just got a bowl here, and just so I've got a kind of curved shape going on, and I'm going to line it up there and go around the curve. I don't know if this is, I always sort of lick the pencil so that it's a bit wetter and the mark goes on more strongly. I might be being poisoned, I don't know. Comment below if you need to warn me. Yes, excellent. We'll need to probably widen it later, because I've got, at least I will, because I've got a big head. Now for the shape of the shoulders, I want quite a loose sort of, almost boyfriendy, quite slopey on the shoulders kind of shape. I don't want sleeve appearing, a puff or anything like that. So in order to achieve that, we just need to test how big our shoulder is. So I'm going from here, which is handily, so I've got my roll neck here, so I know the sort of smallest it can be to my neck. As a t-shirt is a helpful thing to wear when you're sewing. And then just measure down a bit where you think would be a flattering place for it to hit your shoulder. I'm going to go here for 15, no, let's go for 16 centimetres. So I've got the length that I want was 1 centimetre for hemming, and add that to the pattern. Another measurement that we need to think about is the sort of armpit area. So I'm going to just go again from my seam, trace around my body where I think a sleeve would go. This is a bit tight, I wouldn't want it this tight. So I'm going outside of that to about here, quite low in the armpits, to again where this seam is on my top. And that is 29 centimetres, actually surprisingly big. So that's another thing that we need to remember and add to the pattern. To add those measurements to the pattern, we've already got the neck here that we drew. So I'm just going to move out from that and mark on 16 centimetres. And you just slope it down a tiny, so you have it straight against the top, bring it down just by about 2 centimetres, mark it on. And then we need to draw a sort of curve for the sleeve to go in. We all know that I want it to be about 29 centimetres. So just literally, very casually, make a sort of shape like this. Gentle curve until I hit the 29 centimetre mark, which is here. And I'm going to draw that one as well. Okay, so we're still, this is your right side with the centre front, and this is the side with the edges. I've just finished my armpit about here. You can see that I haven't taken it right to the edge. It's about 5 centimetres in. And we just need to join that in a straight line, absolutely straight line, to the edge of the fabric here on my 85 centimetre mark. So it's just you line it up, like so, and draw a cross. Now, as simple as that seems, that's actually the main part of our dress drafted, and we just need to cut that out, and you're going to have just this thing that looks like a big massive baggy vest, and that is exactly what you want. Now I'm just going to cut confidently and straightly along the lines that we've made. So you know we've got the bottom one that mine was, which was at 85 centimetres. Then we've got the diagonal cut from this bottom point to the armpit corner. Armpit corner is passed. Now we're going to the armpit curve, the good old 29 centimetre guy. It doesn't have to be, see, just to know, it hasn't got to be a big massive curve because it's not tight to our body. It doesn't need to be like that. It's more just like sloopy around here. So it doesn't need to be too tight, and that's why this is quite an easy dress to make. Because now I'm doing the top of the shoulder, which remember I just angled down slightly from the neck, and then I'm finishing here with the neck, that small part of a circle we cut. It's definitely going to be too small. But there you have it. It starts to be a dress. So now I've cut that shape, you can see we are starting to get a dress going on here. So obviously now we're left with two parts. With one, it just looks like a big massive vest, which is what we want for the time being. If I lay it on me, it fits around my neck like that, hits my shoulders, the armpits go down here. For the sleeve there are 3 measurements that we need to take. The first one is about the width of the arm. So my arm itself is only 25 centimetres, but obviously I want my sleeves to be quite loose and baggy, so I'm going to add a good, how would 35 be? Is that baggy enough? I think I want even baggier. I'm going to go to 40 centimetres for the width, see then you've got a nice sort of sloopy bit underneath. And then for the length of the sleeve, I want it to kind of hit elbow length. So I'm going to measure, first of all, remember when we measured at our shoulder and you sort of feel that point on you where you want the seam to hit? Well, we need to go down from that point to the elbow, which equates to 31 centimetres. I'm going to add 2 for the seam allowance, so 31, write that down, 31. And same for the inner arm, so we put quite a low armhole if you remember. So let's go to our virtual armhole, which is down here, down to the elbow. That's only 20 centimetres, added 2, that's 22. 31, 22, 40. Let's turn that into a sleeve. When we cut the dress, we obviously just got a big long bit off the bottom, which is here, very long. I'm going to fold it in half, short end to short end. And it's that bottom edge, the new short bottom edge that we want as the bottom. But we're going to work through it this way, okay? So the folds at the top. We've got cut edges here, cut edges here. Now, we said that we wanted it to be 40 in width. So, and you can see because it's folded in half, I'll obviously be drawing one sleeve and it will cut to 40 centimetres right here. So, 40 centimetres. Now, we need to fold that in half again, but just from this 40 mark to the edge. So this all together is our sleeve, and that's going to be our little tie later on. Now, in terms of our measurements, we want the longest side, we want the longest measurement, which was shoulder down, in my case 31 centimetres. Measure down here along the fold. And mark the top out. On this side, the cut side, is that helpful? Cut side. We wanted it to be 22 centimetres. Just so you can see better, this is the curve that I'm talking about. And then to test that, you need to measure this line, this wavy line that you've just produced. And that, for me, is 27 centimetres, which is near enough to the 29 centimetres. Then to cut that sleeve, we'll go along here, which was the original 40 centimetre line, and the squiggle. And then all of a sudden you take those apart, so you've got this shape. I'll just hold it upside down because that's easier. You see, you get this guy going on, and the hump at the top is what would go here, and then the two edges obviously come around, and I've got this elbow length sleeve that I always dreamed of. So now that we've cut our sleeves in our dress, sewing time begins. The first step to do is always, basically when you're dressmaking, shoulder to shoulder. So you can see on this guy, the little vesty shape, we've got a shoulder here and a shoulder here, and he's got a brother to whom he wants to be attached. Always right sides together, shoulder to shoulder. Will get stitched up. For now we can just pin it, and this other shoulder to shoulder, like this. Can you see that? Shoulder to shoulder. And we're just going to do a line of straight stitching across here and across here, and then we'll have a little hole left in the middle. So as we discussed, we've got our shoulder to shoulder area here. Once you've done the shoulders, the next important thing to do is to put the sleeves in. So importantly, this is before we sew up the side, we have to put the sleeve in. And the way to do that, so we've got our little peephole here. I've opened it out, and you see this is one big long armhole curve that comes together. And we're going to sew the sleeve in to follow that curve. How do we do that? Got my sleeve piece with a little hump, fold it in half again, just so you remember where this point is, this centre point, and this centre point here needs to touch, right sides facing always, it needs to touch the shoulder seam that we just sewed where he meets his brother. So this is right sides together, the centre of the hump, the two brothers seam, holding together there, or pinning. Have I got pins? No, I left them downstairs. And we just sort of press the fabric together, go along with our hands then, if you haven't got pins. But nonetheless, this is where I start sewing these two together, and I'll just go along all the way, keeping the edges together and keeping my stitch 1 centimetre in the whole time. We've got a big weird sort of T thing going on. I'm going to get that over my head. But what's happening is that you've got a nice little curved shoulder piece that sits on you. Now the next side again with the sleeve, so we're lining it up, then from one edge we go, keeping it, the curves sticking together, and 1 centimetre in from the side. So thus far with this side and this side have been exactly the same. Now you want to choose which will be the front, and that's where we're going to put the slit. This is going to be my front for no particular reason, and so I'm just pinching the seam to the seam here, and for the rest of the dress I'm going to fold it in half again. So front of the dress, this is the neck hole here, this is the shoulder seam, and I'm just going to cut down about 10 centimetres. That's it. Now the facing. Okay, so I did quite a bad job of showing on my video how to make a neck facing. So I've created this very lame animation to try and make it a bit clearer for you. To make the facing, all you need is your dress sewn to the stage that we've got it so far, and a scrappy bit of fabric, probably the bit that is spare from the arms that we cut out from the long piece of fabric right at the beginning. And that scrappy bit of fabric, you want it to be wrong side up. Now you lay that piece of fabric underneath your main dress, and what we need to do is just trace the shape of the dress neckline onto the scrappy fabric underneath, like that. Then you remove the dress and you're left with a scrappy bit of fabric with a keyhole shape on it, and then around that keyhole shape you need to draw a kind of blobby shape that looks like a light bulb. It's basically a shape that goes 4 centimetres around all of the outlines that you've done so far. And once you've got those two shapes, you just cut them out. You cut out the middle, you cut around the light bulb shape at the edge, and you're left with this kind of thing, which is a beautiful neck facing. So now I'm just going to sew the sides of the dress together. It's inside out, bottom of the sleeve. I'm just going to sew all along here, across the armpit and down the side. Then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, and then we'll be able to try the dress on, which is one of the most fun parts. Now that I've sewed both of my sides together, you want to turn the dress the right way around. I want my ribbons to be about 3 centimetres thick, which means that this thing here has to be 3 centimetres plus 3 centimetres because we're folding in half, plus another 2 centimetres because of the seam allowance. So altogether I would recommend that you have an 8 centimetre strip, and you just cut 8 centimetres all along the edge, and then you can have the ribbons as long as you want. So that's 8 centimetres here. It's time to deal with this strip that we made earlier, and we just want to turn it into a ribbon basically, and in order to do that I'm just going to fold it in half, right sides together, and sew all the way along. Just one straight stitch again, and then later on we'll cut it to the length and finish the ends and things. So now that I've got my big long sewn up ribbon, See, I went a bit wobbly there, never mind. I'm going to put it end to end, like so, and just cut it in half. And then these two ends here, I just need to sew them up so that when you turn it inside out you'll have a clean edge, and that'll be the end of your ribbon. So just really quickly, and then we have to turn them out. So yeah, just to turn it inside out, I'm starting at this open end and then just going to push it through, keep pushing it through. It can help if you've got some scissors that aren't going to rip through your fabric or anything. The end of a wooden spoon I find is quite good, but I can't bother to go to the kitchen and drag it. It's pretty neat. What you should do, I'm not hugely into ironing, but this is one thing that you should iron so that it will be nice and flat and tieable. So I'm going to go and iron these two now. So with the ironing, I'm just going to start at this sewn end and just really press quite hard to make sure that we get a flat finish and a neat finish, and again just on these edges where you've sewn it. Hopefully what I've been doing so far has been relatively straightforward. If there is a complicated bit in the dress, it's probably this bit, so I'm going to actually insist on using pins for once. But yeah, I'll just try and do it slowly and explain it clearly so we're on the same page. So I've got my full dress here with the split that's at the front. And on top of that, I'm going to lay my facing, my little keyhole that we made earlier. I'm going to line it up exactly. So this is obviously the right side is out, this end place it upside down on top of what we did, and because we traced it, it should fit perfectly. And you just want to go along with some pins and do all the edges. So this top corner here, pin it all the way down, pin it and go all the way around. See that now we're getting to the curved bit, and you'll see that once you get around to the edge, it's actually fit perfectly, and that's very satisfying. So here I am, garments laid out, and facing is pinned all the way around. And you can imagine that when I sew where I've pinned here, I'll flip it inside out, and all of a sudden there'll be a really neat edge. One thing that we need to add now as well are our little ties. I've got this corked edge here, and I want to slip that between the facing and the garment, pin that, all those three elements together. And you can imagine then that when I sew here, it's going to do that, and I'm going to turn it inside out, and then it's going to be, this is appearing up on this panel really seamlessly. So now I'm going to start sewing. I'm going to start in this top corner where my tie is just threading through here, and it's all trapped between these pins. Just clip down the front. One important thing to know is that, so I've just reached the end of the straight bit of the split, and now I need to go back the other side. I don't want to do a curve because I don't want it to be a curved shape, I want it to be a slit. So I've sewn right to the edge, I've sewn past the way the slit happens, and now I'm just going to lift the foot, the needle's still inside, and I'm going to rotate everything. And I'm just going to end up sewing back up this split to the top of the collar. And now it's very easy, we're just going to go around the corners, the whole circle of the neck. So again, lifting the foot while the needle's down, rotating it 90 degrees, and carry on. But from here, I promise you it's very easy. Okay, so now I've done that, I've gone all the way around the edge. You can see it's all secure, it's all faced, and now you simply flip the facing to the inside of the garment, you can fix this in place by pressing it. You see it's totally neat. You can only see the face in here, you can't see any of the wrong side of the fabric. And then if you just tie it, in a bow. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? I don't look like cute, God. So I'm just flipping everything the right way around. The lining, which was here, is getting tucked away. And I'm just going to quite carefully go around these sort of sewn edges. You can see this is where you tucked the belt in, and now it's all flat and smooth everywhere. I just really want to nail that down, keep it neat. Just tuck it back down and give it a little firm press. Warning you that where we did the bottom of the split, it's just that straight line, it will come out initially as a bit bumpy and messy, but if you give it a good enough press, if you put the fabric back to where it wants to be, which is basically straight next to each other, this sides of the slit, the slit, because the fabric is made to be one piece. So just remind the fabric that it's everything's fine and it can still be like that, and just iron it that way. And while you've got the iron out, you might as well just take the opportunity to iron some of your seams. So for example, just where I've sewn the body of the dress together, it looks a bit puckery for the minute, but once I lay that down and just again give a nice press to the fabric across where that the sewing has happened, it becomes a lot less visible. If you've gotten this far, then a massive well done. I hope you're feeling satisfied with what you've come up with. The good news is that there are only 3 more bits of sewing to do, and that's the hem along the bottom and the hem on each sleeve. And you basically, you're on the wrong side of the fabric, you fold it up a centimetre, press it, then you fold it up another centimetre and press it. So you've got that neat thing going on. You do that all the way around, and then we just sew it. We just sew a straight line, and it traps everything. We're at the end, and I've just ironed all of my hems that I want to put in place. You can see they just turn down and press, so it's nice and straight and easy to sew. And the way you go about sewing that is turn it the right way around. Check it all remains folded, and just literally place it under the press foot. This time I'd say about half, 3/4 of a centimetre, so that everything will get caught, and just sew all the way around. Snip on, and you'll see that you've got. I've used white thread, partially so you can see me, and partially because I don't really care if a little bit of white shows up on the dress. If you're not confident yet, just get a thread that's as close colour to the fabric as possible, and then if you have little squiggles, then it won't matter, no one will see it. So yeah, so you've seen that, and I'm literally just going to do the same for the sleeve and do the same on all along the bottom, and then we're finished. So here's a finished garment that I've just put on after hemming and everything. It's really loose and swishy and feels really good. Tie it and use like with this tiny little peephole, which is cute. Just tighten a bow. And there you have it.